Hello there, thank you for staying with us right here on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Wachuku, and these are the top stories. We'll start from the foreign scene where Diddy comes being indicted by jury. Marketers right here in Nigeria give conditions to buy Dangote petrol. Tambuwal's aide languishes in prison for criticizing Sokoto First Lady over spray of dollars. Buhari's ex-aide accuses APC of rigging 2023 primaries to favor defectors, and ICPC arrests ex-Kaduna Governor El Rufai's Finance Commissioner at Lagos Airport. Details now. The news begins with this, where American entertainment mogul Diddy has been arrested in Manhattan, New York City yesterday evening after a grand jury handed down a sealed indictment deciding there was enough evidence to charge him with a crime. According to the New York Times, a source familiar with the case said Combs is facing serious charges related to racketeering and sex trafficking. The charges remain undisclosed due to the sealed nature of the indictment. Combs' legal team disappointedly responded to the indictment, asserting that the 54-year-old had fully cooperated with authorities throughout the investigation. In a statement, they revealed that Combs had voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of the charges. His defense emphasizes his standing as a celebrated music icon, a successful entrepreneur, and a dedicated family man. The indictment represents a new chapter in the growing legal storm surrounding Combs, who has recently been embroiled in multiple sexual assault lawsuits, which have drawn renewed public and media scrutiny starting from last year in November, when his ex-girlfriend Cassandra Ventura filed a lawsuit accusing him of years of sexual and physical abuse. These civil allegations have already led to a series of high-profile professional setbacks for the music mogul. The racketeering and sex trafficking charges, if confirmed, could carry devastating consequences for his decade-long legacy in the entertainment industry. Back home in Nigeria, petroleum marketers here say they are standing in limbo over the content in separate interviews yesterday evening with correspondents. Now, on Monday, the new prices may not have been implemented, but the pump price of fuel is supposedly to go up across the country if implemented. Observations indicate that NNPCL is yet to announce a price it would sell Dangote refinery petrol to marketers. The pump price of petrol at independent marketers' filling stations usually surpasses that of NNPCL retail outlets by over 100 naira, which may bring the price of fuel to around 1,200 naira per liter. Now, Shafiu Tureta, a media aide to the former governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal, is still languishing in a correctional center after he was arrested for allegedly criticizing the wife of the Sokoto State governor, Fatima Ahmed Aliyu. Shafiu was arrested by operatives of the Sokoto State Police Command in August for allegedly defaming the First Lady. The arrest followed the criticism of the governor's wife, who was captured in a viral video holding a lavish birthday party with some guests who were throwing dollars. The video, reportedly posted by Shafiu, an activist, stirred up the internet as Nigerians lamented the alleged waste of resources amid the country's ongoing economic downturn. A chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, Abdulaziz Naibi Abubakar, who is calling for the immediate release of the activist, disclosed via tweet on Monday that he was arrested for criticizing the Sokoto First Lady dancing to the spree of dollars on her birthday, and also for criticizing the Sokoto State governor for spending 1.2 billion naira to repair 25 boreholes. The police public relations officer of the Sokoto Command, Rufai Ahmed, confirmed earlier today that the activist was arrested in August following a petition by the First Lady who alleged character assassination. Upon his arrest, Tureta was arraigned before the Chief Magistrate Court in Sokoto State, which ordered his remand in the correctional center. Now, a former aide to ex-President Muhammadu Buhari, Okoye Obono-Obla, on Monday accused the All Progressives Congress of manipulating the 2023 National and State Assembly primary elections to benefit defectors from other political parties. Obono-Obla, in a statement where he called for midterm elections to reform the leadership of the APC in Cross River State, claimed that only the governorship primary election was conducted fairly, with the winner emerging through a consensus. He alleged all tickets for elected positions, such as national and state assemblies, except the governorship ticket, were manipulated and handed over to defectors. He urged the party to conduct midterm congresses at the state, local government and ward levels to address the alleged imbalances, claiming deep divisions within the party's ranks due to perceived injustices that followed the 2021 defections from the People's Democratic Party. Obono Obla also criticized the current APC leadership in Cross River State for running an exclusive and undemocratic administration. He argued that the party's executive committee at all levels are dominated by defectors from the PDP and called for a more inclusive leadership. The APC state chairman, Barrister Afonso's Olga Eba, in response to the allegations, dismissed Obono Obla's allegations, accusing him of attempting to divide the party. Eba said Obono Obla's frustration stemmed from the failure of his efforts to secure federal and state appointments for himself and his nominees. And still on the world news, at 12 operatives of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, have apprehended Shize Joy Nazarabada, the former Commissioner of Finance and Accountant General under National El-Rufai's administration in Kaduna State. Bada was reportedly arrested on Sunday at the Murtala Mohammed Airport in Lagos while attempting to travel abroad. The arrest comes amid growing suspicions that Bada might be fleeing the country due to ongoing corruption investigations linked to both herself and former Governor El-Rufai. ICPC officials have reportedly been tracking her movements after receiving intelligence that she might attempt to evade questioning. This move is part of a broader investigation targeting several high-ranking officials from El-Rufai's administration. Now, sources suggest the scrutiny is centered on alleged financial mismanagement during their time in office, with multiple individuals under investigation for their roles. The Kaduna State House of Assembly recently indicted El-Rufai for allegedly embezzling 423 billion naira from the state treasury. Though the exact charges against Bada have not yet been disclosed, insiders believe they involve significant financial irregularities and misappropriation of public funds. You're currently listening to the World News at 12 on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. We'll take a very short break. When we return, we'll head into a news analysis segment. And right here in the studio, I have Mr. Dele Fanimo. He is a national social political affairs commentator. He'll be responding to some questions posed at him based from his own perspective. I really intend to ask Mr. Dele Fanimo the tough questions, and he really needs to respond to me. Just stay with us. All right, welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. You're still on VOP 90.3 FM on the World News at 12, and this is a news analysis segment. Mr. Dele Fanimo, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Before we actually came back from the break, you said that you thought we had an arrangement or had an agreement for me not to put you on the spot. Unfortunately, I had to do so. The essence of the analysis segment is to properly educate our listeners on some of the stories they just had, and you will give us your own insightful details on what the story is all about. Now, let's look at the ICPC. For a while, we've not been hearing them being active in what their responsibilities are within that sector. It's always been the EFCC. Already, a couple of critical analysts like yourself are saying that the reason why the ICPC seems to be active in the case of former governor of Kaduna State, El-Rufai, is probably because he has fallen out of favor with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because they say that many other ministers, even including the former president, ought to be investigated by the EFCC and ICPC on some financial embezzlement. In fact, we're referring to the ways and means of the previous administration where there was no accountability given as to what the money was used for. So the question is, what exactly is a particular situation with El-Rufai that right now the agencies, the financial misappropriation investigation agencies, have decided to wake up when there are others that they ought to have actually surrounded? What's your take on that?
Let me tell you straight away that ICPC had been working.
Okay.
And they have secured in the last 10, 12 months.
All right.
They have secured convictions, but they work more on public servants, ex and current public servants.
Okay.
And besides that,
Ex and current public servants,
yes.
meaning that those who are currently working can still be investigated by them.
Yes.
Meaning that the immunity would not deter them.
No. ICPC can go into any MDA.
Okay.
It can go into any government and investigate malfeasance
All right.
in any of these government apparatus. Now, let me tell you, the case of the Commissioner for Finance in Kaduna State.
Former Commissioner for Finance.
Yes, former Commissioner. It's not an isolation.
Okay.
You understand? You will recall that Kaduna State government actually reported some alleged misappropriation of funds against the ex-governor. And for you to get accurate information about the dealings of that administration, the first port of call is either the Accountant General at that time or the Finance Commissioner. And so, I'm sure ICPC would have approached the woman, and in defiance of the invitation, the woman was trying to travel out of the country. And she was trailed to the airport for effect before she was arrested. And of course, once she leaves the shores of this country, that case becomes moribund, because she's supposed to provide evidence in that case.
Right.
And one thing I want you to know is that the law says you are innocent until
proven guilty. But for the ICPC to head on in going through with arresting her, obviously they've done their own investigation and finally found some irregularities.
No. You see, the law enforcement arm of ICPC would have given her notice of invitation. And if you fail to come to the agency, either in their zonal office or in their headquarters, that's when the issue of arrest comes in. And for her to get as far as the airport, it means she wants to make good her escape. And so they have the right to arrest and go further in their investigation. I'm sure tons of information had been supplied to ICPC by the current administration in Kaduna State and some other stakeholders that are not even state actors to help ICPC in the prosecution of this case. That's why she's under arrest.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Let's hope that they go on through with that, not just that we're hearing the news and then all of a sudden we'll stop hearing anything. Just like Yahya Bello's case, for now, we've not heard anything as to how active the EFCC is in trying to ensure that he is being arraigned. So let's hope this particular case does not fall in line with that of Yahya Bello.
Let me tell you something, and I want you to further investigate this. You'll find out that ICPC secures more convictions than EFCC. But EFCC is more in the media than ICPC. That's the difference.
That's cool. All right, let's look at a social political activist, Aisha Yesufu, sharply criticizing the DSS following the arrest of Omoyele Sowore on Sunday. Now, we know that, Sowore is a prominent figure. He was one of the top outspoken persons who galvanized on social media and encouraging, most young people to participate in the hashtag End Bad Governance protest. And beyond that, the October 1 fearless protest is saying that we should continue with that, since most of the demands that were asked then during the 10 days of the End Bad Governance protest has not been met by the administration. So Aisha Yesufu went to her official X account. She expressed her disapproval. She accused the DSS of being both shameless and unintelligent, stating that the DSS or SSS is not only shameless but unintelligent, that it fell for the bait. I'm categorically stating what she wrote. So the question is, what bait? What are they? Is she trying to say that it was deliberate for Sowore to return? Trying to say, let me see what you guys would do, because he knows he has done nothing wrong. Because I remember that the DSS eventually spoke out that particular Sunday evening, saying that he was on their watch list before, but he's no longer on their watch list. The current DG of the DSS, apparently his plan is to resanitize and reprioritize the objective and responsibility and the operations of the DSS. But others believe that there is something more. Possibly they're trying to wait for a trap, something that Omoyele Sowore would do. Maybe this time around it may not be well publicized for everybody to know about it. I don't know if you get my drift. So what do you think with the statement that she divulged on her account, on her social media account?
You see, to some extent, Aisha Yesufu will be right.
Okay.
An assessment of the situation.
Assessment that they fell for the bait.
Yes.
That it was a deliberate trap being set by Sowore, and they fell for it.
You see, one thing about security is that don't forget, DSS is supposed to be an adjunct of the Nigerian police.
Okay.
They are supposed to be the secret arm of the security, internal security of the country. Now, it is not in their domain to divulge intelligence reports to the members of the public. They would not be doing themselves any good by doing that. Now, Sowore is somebody that has a pedigree of asking for what is right and what government should do as part of its social responsibility to Nigerians. So the question will be, in defiance of the fact that he was declared wanted before he left America, and he was bold and courageous to come to Nigeria, given what had happened to him in the past, where he was incarcerated for a long period of time and then going back and forth in court before he was finally released. So one would expect that Sowore would fear for his life. But contrary to the expectation, he insisted I was coming to Nigeria. After all, it's a land of his birth.
Yes, he said so.
You know? So what they probably would do is to ask him at the port of entry, this time around, are you bearing arms? Do you have anything up your sleeve that could jeopardize the internal security of Nigeria? And once it's clear about that it doesn't have anything other than to say, look, we want to drive home the point that government should wake up to its responsibility and ensure that Nigerians are living a better life. Of course, it will be released.
You would you agree with a couple of analysts like yourself that the former DSS boss made a couple of their covert operations public, and most of the time they either under-delivered or they did not actually understand their priority? Because the End Bad Governance protests, as you can recall, with what a lot of, if you've been on the streets right now in the country, you can tell that there was a significant purpose for that protest. After the protest, treasonable felony charges were just being slammed on any individual who was found to have actually contributed in galvanizing either via social media or physically participating. Do you think that if the fearless October protest is to take place, we're going to see the DSS abstain from having to counter the measure of a protest or detain any individual galvanizing, or having to suppress any voice that may want to express themselves as to the fact that the economic condition in the country is stifling and the administration seems not to be doing anything about it?
You see, let me tell you something. The difference between Bichi and the current DG is the fact that Bichi came from outside.
Outside
That's
where?
the point. It was not supposed to be the next person to assume that position.
Okay.
You understand? And so he will be betrothed to those who gave him that appointment on a platter.
So he was being used for the political whims and caprices of the elite.
Yes, but I would expect this man, he rose through the ranks. He was already a deputy director general of the agency, the DSS, before he was just moved a bit forward and became the DG. So he would understand the whole gamut and their mode of operation.
All right.
You understand? So, but the point is, coming to your question, the fearless protest that is coming up in October. Yes. Let me tell you something. No government, no security apparatus will fold its hands and allow things to escalate beyond control before intervention. But I'm sure that some people will protest peacefully, and some miscreants will likely want to infiltrate the ranks of the genuine protesters. So they should also be prepared to counter some of these miscreants in the course of the protest.
All right.
Because most times, those who intend to protest, they are organized. They know what to do at the right time. They know where to go, and they know the message they are passing across.
The saying is that the miscreants are sponsored. It's deliberate to disorganize any form of organized protest,
let me
so that eventually the effect of the protest is balkanized.
Let me tell you, most of these protesters are not organized.
What do you mean by that?
Because they don't subsume themselves to the authority of the original protesters. They just come and barge in because their intention is to loot.
That's what I'm saying. That the speculation is that these miscreants, as you say, that come and denigrate the effect of the protest are usually being sponsored.
You see, that's a conspiracy theory.
It's not a fact. Are you saying it's not a fact?
I'm not aware of that.
So you cannot say, for example, that's what it is.
I can't put my finger on that because I don't have evidence.
Do you think the NSAS protest was balkanized by some political elites to ensure that the effect of the protest does not take place?
I am not saying it's not possible, but what I'm saying is that I don't have evidence. I am a journalist and I'm supposed to have evidence to prove that what I am saying I can defend.
There were some individuals that were shown on social media that came out from the BRT bus. I remember during the NSAS protest then in 2020. Exactly. So it is on that premise that the speculation comes from the fact that this particular bad governance protest, some of the miscreants who tried to denigrate the effect of the protest were being sponsored.
I am not saying I am ruling it out. But what I'm saying is that I don't have evidence to show that it actually happened.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
Because let me tell you, look at what happened in, was it Kano, where miscreants seized APC, armor personnel carrier, and they forced the driver to drive around the city like Concross. You understand? Those ones couldn't have been sponsored. Some of them, they just, out of youthful exuberance, felt that we can dare, and they dared. And the driver of that APC was very professional without attacking them, using the weapons therein. So what I'm saying is that it will be a very good thing if those protesters that are genuine protesters, that are organized protesters, have a way of reining in whoever wants to infiltrate their ranks.
All right.
To make a nonsense of that protest. Because what they are doing is telling government what an average Nigeria is experiencing and what an average Nigeria wants the government to improve upon.
All right, finally, before I let you go, Mr. Diddy Fanimo, because we do not have time, INEC has asked the Federal High Court Abuja to dismiss a suit filed by Labour Party challenging the exclusion of the party from a refresher training organized by the Commission for Uploading Party Agents in the upcoming Ondo State governorship election. Now, there's been quite a lot of talk on this upcoming Edo State governorship election. Others feel that the resident electoral commissioner there, who is a cousin to Yesufu Wike, will be an instrumental channel to actually favor a certain political party. Yesufu Wike said that's not possible. Now, there have been petitions written to INEC to ensure that that particular man is changed because they do no longer trust his transparency in the conduct of the elections. But apparently that did not take place. Now, this counter affidavit is coming on the fact that they're maintaining that based on its record, Julius Abure's tenure as the national chairman of the Labour Party, along with the party's national executive committee, expired in June 2024. And INEC claimed it did not monitor, participate in, or recognize the purported national convention of the Labour Party held in March 27, 2024 in Anambra State, where Abure claimed to have been re-elected. But despite all of this, Abure is still, parading himself and saying that he's not going to recognize the National Working Committee of Nenadu Usman. And Nenadu Usman is saying that the committee, yes, the caretaker committee, that it is necessary for that caretaker committee to come in to sanitize the party. So if they prioritize, they know where they're heading. What's your take on this as briefly as possible?
Number one, Abure has been thrown under the bus.
Okay.
And the earlier he understands this, the better for him. And if he's going to join the train, he has to double his efforts and make sure that there is reconciliation in that party. Except he wants to be dubbed as a mole planted to disorganize Labour Party.
He's already been dubbed that.
You understand what I'm saying? And so the earlier he retraces his steps, the better for him.
Okay.
As for the Edo election, INEC has set up itself against the electorate in the Edo State by refusing to withdraw the REC with all the allegations against him. Either way, even if PDP wins, they will say INEC was blackmailed to rig in favor of PDP so that it can have respite. If APC wins, they will say is working through to answer. So either way, INEC is going to lose in that election. And the earlier that man is withdrawn before Saturday, the better for INEC.
I don't know if that's going to be possible now, but Mr. Delifanimo, thank you so much for taking your time to give us your insights on some of the questions posed at you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. To wrap up here again are the top stories. You heard that Diddy Combs, indicted by jury, arrested. Marketers give conditions to buy Dangote petrol, I import. Tambowal's aide languishes in prison for criticizing Sokoto State First Lady over spray of dollars. Buhari's ex-aide accuses APC of rigging 2023 primaries to favor defectors. And ICPC arrests ex-Kaduna Governor Out-of-Ice Finance Commissioner at Lagos Airport. That's a wrap on the World News at 12. My name is Esther Machiku. Thank you for listening. Up next is Area Mata Alaji.